Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi Theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, in this video today we're going to show you how to put together a CSS grid. You can put your modules together and really shape them and style them within a grid using a little bit of custom code. This is really easy to do. We do have to do a little bit of coding, but don't let that put you off. Any coding I do, as usual, I'll put down below the video. You're welcome to copy and paste it. This is a really effective feature to have on your site too. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the visual builder so we can build on the front end. Okay, once loaded, I'm going to go down. I'm simply going to delete this whole thing. Okay, I've got a section here, a blue tab. I'm going to add a row, little green button right here. I'm going to use a single column. Now Divi comes as standard with all the light grey modules here. Plenty enough to build just about any site. I'm going to go ahead and use a blurb module purely because they've got a nice little icon in there. This will work with any module you want to use though. Okay, there's a basic blurb module. It's got a little placeholder, a title and a bit of text. I'm going to get rid of the image and use an icon instead. This is a regular text field. Put your title in there if you want a title. And a regular text field down here. Put anything you want in there. You can align. You can make titles, bold, italicize, or even add media if you want to. I'm, for expediency, going to leave mine just as it is. Just below we'll find image and icon, still on the content tab. I'm going to flip the switch and I'm going to use a little icon. Now Divi is just teamed up with Font Awesome, so there's an awful lot of icons here. Let's search for one. That's fine. I'm going to pop that little icon in right there. You can do a search like I've just done here. You can scroll through. There's an awful lot of scrolling if you do it that way. Or it's got a little breakout box here that if you click on this little icon, it'll pop out into a bigger box. Makes it easier for scrolling. Like I say, there's a lot to scroll through there, but I'm happy with that. Okay, background wise, let's go ahead and make this red. I'm going to pop over to my design tab now. Now you can link this module to anything if you want to. Still on the content tab, I just skipped over the link there. If you want to link it, you can link your title here and you can link your module here. Always best practice. If you're linking to your own site, leave it in the same window. If you're linking off site, open it in a new tab. That way your site will stay open. Okay, we'll pop over to the design tab here. And that text, I'm going to make that light in color. Not going to give it any box shadow or anything, but I do want to align it actually in the middle there. That's great. I think I'll change that icon to white as well. Right up the top here is image and icon. I'm simply going to make mine white. There we go. And I want to add a little space top and bottom, left and right. So I'm going to go down to spacing. Right down here, and I'm going to give it, say, 30 pixels all around. Just put in the 30, it'll put in the pics. Hit the chain, it'll do the opposite side. Same for left and right. Okay, I'm going to save this now. I'm sort of happy with the shape and content. Obviously you'd have different content for yours. I'm now going to duplicate this module, say 10 times. Or so we've got 10 of them, so I'm duplicating 9 times. Just hit the little 2 squares right there to duplicate. Once we've got them, I want to actually take the gutters away so there's no gaps in between them here. And to do that, we need to go back into the row, which is the green tab up here. We can go over to design. And sizing, we've got custom gutter width right here. I'm going to flip that to on. I'm going to take the gutter width down to 0 and you'll see this gap disappear. The gutters are actually top, bottom, left and right. And as you can see, they've all kind of merged into each other there. Great, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into each one and just change up the icon and perhaps the color so you can discern between them all. I'll just do the first one, then I'll pause the video for you. So I'm going to go into this one again. I'm simply going to go image icon. Let's just put one of those in there, and I'm going to change the background to blue. Obviously, like I said earlier, you'll have some real content. I'm going to go through and just change the icons and colors on these. I'll pause the video briefly while I'm doing that. Okay, so there we go. We've got 10 little blurb modules here, different little icons and different colorings on the back. So let's make this a grid. I've got 10 of them, so I'm going to make it 5 across, and we can make some of them span 3, some of them span 2. Really simple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my little row here, little green tab. Inside the row we've got one column. I'm going to go into the column. This is where we're going to write our custom CSS. So I'm going to go over to Advanced, Custom CSS, and down to the main element. Okay, so we can go down. I want it to display in a grid form, so I'm going to say display, grid, semicolon. We always put a semicolon at the end of each command. If you don't do that, it won't read the next one. Okay, so I want it to display a grid. I want it to display a grid template of columns. So I'm going to say grid dash template dash columns. And how many do I want? I think I decided I wanted 5. So I'm going to put a colon and I'm going to say repeat. No gap at the end of repeat there. I'm going to put some curly brackets. And inside, I want it to repeat 5 times. I'm going to put a comma. And I'm going to say in one FR or one fraction. And as you can see, that's actually put them in columns of 5. And you may be asking, well, I could have done that with 5 little columns in my row. Yeah, that's exactly right. But with this, you can actually stretch it. And I'll show you in a minute. You can have one that's 2 and one that's 3, or however you want. It makes it a lot easier. So we've got our little fraction on the end of there. Let's put a semicolon. I'm going to add rows auto so it automatically knows how to do that. So I'm going to say grid template rows, grid dash template dash rows. And I want it to automatically decide or automatically file them for us. And I've got a little error there, expected rebrace. I can't find it there and it works fine. So if you do get that little error, don't worry about it. It's working. That's the bottom line. Okay. And I want to put a little gap between each of these just so we can see through. So I'm going to give it perhaps 5 pixels. So I'm going to say grid gap, dash gap, colon. I'm going to say 5 px or 5 pixels. There we go. We've got our little gap in between each one there. Great. And again, don't worry about that unknown property. It doesn't seem to know it, but obviously, as you can see, it works fine. And like I said earlier, all this code will be down below the video for anybody that just wants to copy and paste it. Okay, so our grid's working. I'm going to save our column settings and save the row settings here. And say I want this one to stretch for the first 2 there, or even the first 3. I can just go into this module simply by clicking on it. Remember, these are all blurb modules. And if you've got different text here, if I just go back into this row, you may decide that in the design and sizing, you may want to equalize the column heights if it's not working out height-wise for you. You can just flip that to on. Mine's got the same content in each, so obviously there's the same height. So I'll just flip that on. Probably a good idea if you've got different amounts of text in there. Okay, well, let's go into our first one here and make it wider than some of the others. Dart module for the tab. I'm going to go in there. We're going to go over to Advanced, down to Custom CSS again, down to the main element. And let's make this first one perhaps stretch to here. So we're going to say grid column start, dash column, dash start. And I want it to start on the first column there. And where do we want it to end? I want it to end perhaps on the 3rd column. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to drop down, Control V to paste. I'm going to say end here. And I'm going to say 3. I want it to end on column 3 here. As you can see, that's pushed that across already, and it's made that 2 columns deep. And you can also tell it what rows you want it to start and stop in as well. For instance, if I put grid row start, row dash start, and we'll have it starting on the 1st row. I'm going to copy that again, and we'll say grid row end. Let's maybe put it on 2, and it should stretch to our second row there. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it underneath. Okay, and let's change that start to an end. If I change this to perhaps a 3, you'll see that that's now stretching to our third row here. If I was to change that to a 2, the start, it would start at 2 and end at 3. We got it on the bottom there. It's on the third row there. But I'm happy for mine to start on row 1 and end on row 1 also. It's basically how it was. And let's just copy this. Once you've got it written one time, it makes it very easy to manipulate other modules. Let's perhaps make this purple one a bit bigger. Let's make it 2. So I'm going to go in there. I'm going to go to my advanced. Just move this slightly out of the way so you can see what's going on. Custom CSS. I'm just going to paste it in the main element there. And I'm going to have it start on 4. And I'm going to have it end on perhaps 6. And I want it in the second row. And I want it to end on the second row. So now we've got this one here, and it's 2. And just to finish off, we'll push this one over. Let's make this green one perhaps a lot bigger. Again, I'm going to copy all of this. I'm going to save that. Let's go into the green one, or you could do it with the orange one there. It's entirely up to you. Go into our custom CSS. Main element. We'll paste that code back in there again. And this particular one, I want it to start on 1. I want it to end on 5. And I want it to be in our third row there. 3 and 3. And there it is. We've got a big one there and a small one there. And that's a great little grid thing. Now what we also might want to do, that works perfectly for me, is you want to make sure this is responsive. And to make sure that it's responsive, let's go back into our row here. And we'll go over to our column down here, to our advanced where we wrote the custom CSS in the main element here. And this is common to most Divi modules. If you hover over the dark writing, you'll see some little icons appear. If there's a little mobile phone type icon there, like there is in our case, let's click on it. And we can set a different state for tablet and phone. If I hit on tablet here, you can see it's going to kind of spill out. It's not really going to fit very well. So to make this compatible, I'm going to take the grid display away. I'm simply going to change display grid to display block. And as you can see, it returns to our regular looking little modules there. And let's have a look on mobile. And again, it's kind of falling out of the mobile there. So again, I'm just going to change the display grid to display block. And we can actually get rid of everything below that. And the same for this. And we'll go back to our first one there. And there we go. So we got that working responsively now too. So there you go, guys. That's how to create a CSS grid using a bit of custom code. And don't forget that code will be down below for anybody who wants to copy and paste it. And that's a great little feature to have on your site. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.